Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Speaker checking in for the daily. Get anywhere else we cannot teach you how to rise to the occasion. We teach you how to fall to your level of preparation. Happy. Make your move Monday kickoff question first week in March, and we are bringing it. Oh man, it felt good. You see, this is a great time to be in South Florida. You know, the weather is just motherfucking right. It's just right, and as that sun rises and it hits, it's like you better be going. You better have it all up in here. You gotta have it all up in your soul to where your systems are so locked. Your systems are so locked and loaded that no matter what happens, you're ready to roll. And the good days, the bad days, regardless, you gotta get the fuck going. You gotta get going. My favorite quote, it's the African proverb, whether you're the fucking cheetah or you're the damn with the what's the shit called? The cheetah or the cheetah, no, the lion or the gazelle. Yeah, the lion, yeah, that's the cheetah, but the lion and the gazelle. Both of them. The lion wakes up hungry every single morning, running after the gazelle to get their food, right? Now the gazelle wakes up and it runs away because the lion's gonna eat it. So whether you're the lion or you're the motherfucking gazelle, you wake up every morning running. You better be running. And that's what it is. Whether you're the lion going out and eating or you're the gazelle that's running away from being eaten, you gotta be running every single morning. Man, I love that quote. Love it. Love it. All right. Cool. Let me bring it back. Today's Move Swiftly Thought. Make your move Monday kickoff question. Question is, who are you manipulating? All right. Now, again, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share this out to anybody that needs to hear it. Because what we're talking about is manipulation, but we're actually getting the actual definition of the word manipulation. See, too often do we use the word manipulation in a negative context because it's always used in a negative context. It's even in the definition, there's the term unfair, and you hear it when people are trying to do this, or there's some sort of sense out there that they're doing some harm to you. But all of us manipulate somebody, and it's important that we're aware of who we're manipulating, so we don't start to doubt ourselves and doubt what it is we can do for another person, doubt our services, doubt our products, doubt the things that we're able to do. All right, now I'll go deeper into this example a little later, but I remember years back when I was working, I was a trainer for PCA, Positive Coaching Alliance, and the example was shared in which, sometimes parents would take pieces of broccoli and put it in the cookie dough and tell the kids that it was chocolate chip. That's technically manipulation, them getting to eat their vegetables, but obviously eat more broccoli and eat chocolate, that's going to be a whole lot more healthier for you. So the question becomes, and then just so you understand this, so we're clear, today's question and this week's theme. All right, a lot of tongue twisters there. This week's theme it's stemming off a breakthrough that I personally have with a lot of the people that I deal with on a day-to-day basis, who you can tell, you can see it in their voice, you can hear it in all the things they say, you can hear it in their actions aligned with their words, and everything that they do, everything that they say, that they benefit. There's a huge benefit. There's a surface level benefit that they get from making me personally a young black boy, all right, not just me, but just young black men in general. They get a personal benefit. They get a personal benefit by labeling us as the angry black man in the workplace. All right, there's this long running joke about two things a black man can't. What's that joke? The snow globe and a black man have in common, something about they both can't get a job or something like that. Snow blower that doesn't work. Right, they both can't get a job or something like that. So some stereotypical bullshit where a lot of black men have to live in these stereotypes, in these labels. We have to prove ourselves that we're not. And again, all of it is bullshit. But understand, we have to live with being stereotyped, and then we have to continuously prove people wrong because of the labels that are put on us. And there are people out there, again, people that I know everyone that works with. Again, I have to deal with them all. I have to deal with them every day. That will benefit from manipulating people to think that I'm the angry black guy always getting upset, this, that, and the third. And I had to debunk that entire thing this entire week. So that's where this whole theme is coming from, is who are you manipulating? Because it's going to happen. People are going to try to manipulate you to do this and manipulate you to do that. The question now becomes, in your own mind, who are you manipulating? Why are you manipulating them? And what good and what benefit are you going to give to these people when you manipulate them? And it's about being honest about that. See, the problem is when it comes to these labels and it comes to the folks that just stereotype you without any fucking facts at all, they don't really understand the manipulation has two sides. Manipulation is, there's some good manipulation that you can create, or there's bad manipulation. When they're honest with themselves, then they can honestly have dialogue and call things down the middle and be, fair in terms of how they make the decisions, or make the best decisions for the overall organization. And that's what's missing when it comes to people who just label you without any real facts coming to the table. So again, I'll clear all this up. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share this out. Main website to check out. And again, listen, all things employee development here. So make sure you understand all things employee development. Understand that what we do is so damn important in your workplace, because it's going to lead to a lot. If you don't understand it, it's going to lead to a lot of angry people leaving for reasons and things that they have absolutely nothing to do with. So again, we'll dive deeper into all this. Main website, I got to jump the shot. So main website to check out to dive deeper into all the work I do. All things employee development. It's makeyourmove.com. That's MAKEYAMOVE.com. One-stop shop for your teamwork and your self-development needs. As one Crookshank, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker. Check it out. You guys continue to move swiftly. We will talk more.
Good morning, good whatever time of day you may be consuming this. Again, the name is As One Crookshank. I am your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, former Division I college football player, current 6-time published author and educator. And for those of you who do not know, I created this whole brand, this whole system, this whole philosophy, this whole platform that's all about taking the innovative teamwork lessons that you learn on the football field and applying them to businesses and business owners, so they have a staff or a group of employees that moves as efficiently, as coherently, as passionately as a championship high school or youth football team. All right. So the main website to check out to dive deeper into all of that, all things employee development, it's makeyourmove.com. It's MAKEYAMOVE.com. All the information you would need is right here on me. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel and go pick up a copy of my latest book, which is How to Be a Wintrepreneur, in which we're gonna roll out quite a few things coming into, now that we're in the spring months. We're going to roll out quite a few things around this concept and this idea of becoming a wintrepreneur. So make sure you get a copy of that book. It will be the print copy. I've been saying this now. The print copy will be ready when I get the amount of orders that I am happy with, is when the print copy will be ready. But the point of it, again, we're living in 2026. And when it comes to books, and this is for anybody that actually is striving to become an author, when it comes to physical hard copy books, there's an understanding that you have to have an audience. You have to have a group of people that are already bought it. Several pre-orders ready, email list that's strong, very interactive. You have to be very interactive with your audience before you just drop a book. Right? Before you just drop a book. Again, this is book number 6, so I know what I'm talking about when I tell you it's important to more so spend the time engaging your audience, of putting content, putting material out there that you know your ideal audience is going to want to consume. All right. This is why you see me do so much speaking and so much content creation, because I know my audience, the people that I want in my audience, I know exactly who they are, and I know exactly who I want listening to me on a day-to-day basis. So if you are that person that needs employee development, that struggles immensely, like struggles to the point where you can lose your business, losing your profits every single day, because you don't have a system in place that's keeping people engaged, that's keeping people motivated, keeping people aligned with the overall mission of the goal. Everybody's just straight off doing their own thing. They're taking their check and they're pretending that they're all in when they're in front of this person and then this person and all that. Listen, if you want a straight line system to say this is how you develop as a staff, this is how you make yourself valuable in the workplace, this is the platform for you, and this is the book that you need to be getting right now. You need to go right now and click on that link and get that book as we speak. All right. So all that being said, again, I did a lot of work around it this weekend, going into, because I knew it was going to be the first one in March. So be ready for a lot of promos when it comes to how to be a entrepreneur. Because being a entrepreneur is what you need as a business owner. I've really narrowed it down, right? As a business owner, you love an entrepreneur, but an entrepreneur eventually becomes competition. As a business owner, you love the staffer that is loyal to your organization, but eventually they become stagnant. They just are doing what they're being told, and they get too comfortable doing what they're being told. So there's this crossroads. There's this thing that you have to meet in the middle, and that's where you want to develop a staffer that's thinking like an entrepreneur, but not to the point where they're taking over your organization and becoming a competitor to you, right? So that's where you meet in the middle. Wintrepreneur. That's what it's all about. So again, make sure you get a copy of that. How to be a wintrepreneur, makingmove.com. Click the shop button. All right. So all that being said, and the book is actually going to be made up of, it's going to be an 8-step process, but it's also going to be made up of the top Medium articles, which is why you see me every Monday and Tuesday go over the Medium articles that are talking about this week's theme, whatever the theme may be, right? So this week's theme is, who are you manipulating? So the theme comes in the form of a question. Make Your Move Monday kickoff question comes in the form of a question. Who are you manipulating? All right. And I'm going to take this word that you hear the word manipulate, and you hear the word manipulation, and you automatically think negative. You automatically think, I got to run away from this person. Oh my God. I automatically think there's this salesperson that's selling me this and selling me that. There's something I don't know. There's something that I have to actually ask questions about it. Somebody didn't teach me this in school, and I don't know how to handle this. All sorts of things come up when you hear these words because you were never taught the actual definition of what the word meant and how you need to be responding. You got to understand manipulating is too. So it's almost like when I first learned the word consequence. All right, first learned the word consequence by one of the lectures, Coach Bob Malloy, who was my high school football coach, and he would regularly. Anybody that's ever played for Coach Malloy would tell you the same thing. He would regularly use the word consequences. Ever heard the word consequences? There are good consequences and there are bad consequences. You show up, do what you have to do in the weight room. You show up and you do your workouts, you eat right, you do what you need to do on the field and all that. You're going to have some good consequences, right? You're going to go out, you're going to win some games, you're going to get a starting position, you're going to get whatever it is you're hoping to get. Now, you bullshit, you decide you're going to drink, you decide you're not going to show up to the weight room, you decide you're going to eat whatever you want. Then when you show up on the field, it's going to show. There are consequences, good and bad. It's like, again, there's manipulation. There is good and there's bad manipulation. Obviously, you're used to hearing the negative terms of manipulation, but today we're going to talk to you about both sides, not just today, but tomorrow. We're going to finish it off tomorrow with a top 5 ways to manipulate people in a positive way. And that takes a level of belief in yourself. That takes a level of belief in what you're about that you will not run into every single day. And this is why this content, what I do is so important, is because what we do here is we take the words, we take the things that most people just take on face value, and we challenge it. We challenge authority. We challenge the status quo. We challenge the stuff that's out there. So we actually walk out of these sessions a whole lot better. You're going to walk out of this video, whenever you started watching, you're going to walk out of a whole lot better, thinking a whole lot different. So now you understand, hey, I'm ready for whatever the world's going to throw at me. I'm ready for whatever curveballs life is going to throw at me today. That's the way it's going to be. That's how you got to move, all right? It's what we call move swiftly. That's WIFT. Add in your LY. You see the plus LY there every single day. You lift in yourself every single day. All right, so here it is. Make Your Move Monday kickoff question. Who are you manipulating? All right, so here's it. And I chose this image. I want to make sure I'm on record saying this, because I chose this image. This was actually, so if you don't know, I do teach. I'm a sport and fitness coach at a local school, a K-5 school out here in West Palm Beach. All right, it's actually at the foundation, first ever sport and fitness coach that this school has ever hired. All right, and it's the first year of me doing it. And if I need to say so myself, doing a damn good job at it, regardless of what anybody wants to say, doing a damn good job, because I'm only getting a select amount of time with the kids. And we were in the process of building a brand new playground, so I didn't go outside with them. I couldn't go outside with them every day. There were certain things that the head of school was telling me to do that. Yeah, we won't go there because I'm being recorded right now. But the bottom line is the whole way the whole thing was put together is it was like, look, I was gonna just figure it out. We'll say it like that. I was gonna figure it out. There was no real curriculum, no real, hey, you have to follow these guidelines or anything like that, which is fine, which is perfect for me because I know I'm damn good at what I do. So anyway, there was a time in which we had to, because it's South Florida, the rain comes when it wants to come and stuff like that. So we had to go inside. We had to go inside and do a drill, or I had to go inside and create some sort of a curriculum, something for them to do during that 30 minutes. And because of the school, the school, what we pride ourselves on is integrating the arts with the traditional education, which is what I love. I mean, that's what keeps me going back every single day, is the actual integration, the creative thinking that that we inspire with the kids. Again, I'm the son of an architect. Mother, she figured it out. CDL, like sister, been involved with children since she was high school. She started working at a daycare in high school, right? So this job per se was very much relatable to the way I grew up. So I love the idea of integrating the arts into regular curriculum, integrating the arts. I love that creative strategy to engage students in learning. Like for me personally, I was just having this conversation. I'll talk a little bit about this later in detail, but I personally learned my math because of I learned the difference between odd and even, because when I played football, it was something called a halfback 35 dive, 30, we'll say 33 dive, right? So you have the 3 back, let's go 34 dive. You have the 3 back going through the 4 hole. So the 3 back was the guy that's all the way the tailback, and then he's going through the 4 hole. The 4 hole, was the even number, so it's to the right. So that's how I learned my math. It engaged me to have to learn it, even though I hated the way math was being taught in the classroom. I was engaged in math because of what it can provide for me on the field, right? So anyway, I bring that up because I chose this picture because I taught the students a lesson on how to get their averages. Now, keep in mind, you don't really learn how to get an average until you get to probably middle school or high school. Averages is not something that you typically learn at the elementary school level. But again, me being the innovator, the thinker that I am, I said, you know what? Let me teach them a lesson that they may or may not have already gotten to in the classroom, because again, we talked a lot about ambiguity last week. The problem with the traditional education is there's certain tests that you have to pass, and you're basically telling the kids, hey, you're smart enough when you pass this test, or you're not smart enough, a bunch of bullshit that I don't have even the time to start talking about right now. But anyway, I had them come into the classroom and I put them in the teams of 3. And did you see right there is a certain number of kids. So I had all 3 of them do a certain amount of jumping jacks in a certain time period. So you see 43, 14, and 9. So that would be how many jumping jacks they got per 30 seconds. So one got 43, the other one got 14, the other one got 9. And I told them, hey, you got to find the average. So they added it all up, and you see they divided the 3 by 6, and then did their own long division, and they were able to find the average. If I see it, so 66 plus 50, and then they got the average number, right? So that's why. So here's the point of me, Brown. I say all that to explain this to you. There's a manipulation that you can create for young people that's actually going to be good for them. There's nothing bad about them learning how to find their averages, even though it may not have come in the traditional sense. It may not have come in a sense of, you have to teach it this way. You have to know. The manipulation came from, hey, you said you don't like math, but you like, working out, you like doing sport and fitness, you like, getting active. Okay, let's learn something that's going to be relatable. And maybe now in your own head, okay, maybe I don't hate math as much as I thought I hated it because of the way it was being taught. What I did was manipulation, because I knew it was going to become something positive for them later on. If they can go and find their averages without even having to think about it, they're going to think about that time when, hey, I was doing jumping jacks, that teacher, that coach taught me how to, get my average with this one and that one, and now, boom, I'm ready to go. I know how to improve. That's a mentality, right? That's a mentality, and that's what it's all about. So that's why that picture came up, and I wanted to make sure I explained that to you guys so you understand manipulation is not always a bad thing. All right, so let's just start with the definition. All right, manipulation It's the exercise of influence or control over someone or something, typically in a deceptive, unfair, or underhanded manner to serve the manipulator's own interests. Okay, so here are the key words: deceptive, unfair, and underhanded. So let me challenge that. So this definition, I wanted to put that definition up here so you guys understand. Even in the definition, you're led to believe that manipulation is always negative. Always, right? Typically, again, typically does not mean always. Typically is sometimes in the way you hear it. You got to understand words and how we use them and how the definitions of the words are swaying you one way or the other. When you say the word typically, it changes from, okay, there's always bad minute to just most of the time. Now you can start to gain leverage. Now you can start to have a conversation because, again, it's not always a bad thing. And when you start expanding your mind, expanding your vocabulary, expanding your understanding of things, now you can manipulate and turn things into a positive way because you know I'm 10, 15 steps ahead of this person. So I'm gonna push them to the right answer. I'm gonna push them. It was one of my favorite guy, like one of my favorite mentors. Shout out to Dre Baldwin, who would come up with this philosophy. It's called feeding medicine to a dog, where you feed medicine to a dog will damn near bite your hand off trying to feed the medicine. But you know, if you get enough in there, you can push them to the right answer. This is the revolutionary way in which we're talking about education. This is what we're talking about here. So, keywords: deceptive, unfair, underhanded. Let me challenge you. Is manipulation always negative? Or is it just how we've been conditioned? Okay, hear this part. Is manipulation always negative? Is it always negative? Or has it been how we've been conditioned to hear the word? We've been conditioned to hear the word as only negative, but it's not always negative. That is a fact. It's not always negative. All right, let me just give you an example. I talked a little bit about this morning on the Move Swiftly Thought. So the broccoli cookie test, all right, and this was something that was brought to me by when I was being coached by the folks over at Positive Coaching Online. Shout out to PCA. All right, so anyway, the broccoli cookie test. Let's say you're a parent. Excuse me. And your kid, like any kid, love chocolate chip cookies. They love candy, love all sorts of sugar, right? But we'll go with chocolate chip cookies for now, right? So let's say you're a parent and your kid loves chocolate chip cookies, but instead of chocolate chips, you mix pieces of broccoli into the cookie dough and bake them anyway. You manipulated them. Oh my God, you manipulated them to eat some broccoli instead of chocolate chip cookies, right? You manipulated these folks. You manipulated these children. To actually eat broccoli and put some healthy shit in their body, right? And not, get used to all that sugary shit. You actually manipulated kids to eat broccoli. You manipulated kids. You manipulated a kid to eat more vegetables. You manipulated a kid to put some damn fruits in their body. So you manipulated a kid not to eat ice cream at night. Oh my God. You're such a bad person, right? You manipulated them. And I'm being tongue in cheek, but seriously, you manipulated them, right? You influenced their behavior, you controlled the outcome, and you disguised the delivery. But was it evil? It was not. It was for their own good. More vegetables in their body is better than more sugar, right? Now let's adjust the lens. Manipulation is influence with intent. The real question is, what's the intent? That's what we got to talk about. See, when we talk about manipulation, what we're not asking, we throw these fancy terms out there in terms of manipulation, but we're not asking the bigger question: what's the intent? That's it. That right there is where we get a lot of people fucked up, because there's a lot of people out there who have manipulated this conversation, manipulated the way they write this, manipulated a bunch of shit. But the intent gets covered. The intent gets, buried in a conversation. The intent of what a person and why a person is trying to do what they're trying to do. All of that shit gets buried because people with influence, and people with titles, people with money, and people with the corner office, the folks that are out there who are running around with a fancy title, a fancy degree, a fancy corner office or cubicle, whatever you want to call it, some sort of thing that makes them look successful. They want to protect that shit. They work their entire ass off. They work their ass off to get those things. They made that the intention, which again, in many ways, at some stages, it's fine. It's fine if you want to be productive. It's fine if you want to go out and get your doctrine and go out and get degrees and all that kind of stuff. But you can't, in the process of doing that, you can't run around like you're better than anybody else. You don't get the luxury of doing that, which means if you stay stuck in that mentality for too long, your intent starts to show. And it's your intent that starts to come out when you talk to people like myself, who's going to dig in and ask certain questions, whose intent. It's the intent that we have to talk about. The intent. So I wrote this. It was Friday when I wrote this, and I was mixing and I was realizing quite a few things because the NFL Combine and the season we're in when it comes to the NFL Combine and all that bullshit that they put out there. It was really driving me crazy. So I had finished write the piece I wrote it on Saturday. Yeah, I talked about that on Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. So Saturday I wrote the piece. Friday I wrote the piece, and I was doing a lot of research on the NFL Combine and the problems with it and all that kind of stuff. So I just wrote the piece about how the NFL Combine has become a distraction and why the league needs a feeder system. The 100th piece, 100 times I've talked about the NFL needing a feeder system. I won't stop talking about it. But think about what's happening downstream, all right? Understand that the reason that piece and that topic is such a major topic for myself and what I do is what's happening downstream. Young athletes are being influenced to chase a 40-yard dash times. Parents are being influenced to spend thousands of dollars on private trainers. Right? Private trainers and high school programs are being influenced to specialize early, meaning third-party trainers, street agents, camp sales funnels. I'll get your son ready. That'll cost you $3,000. That's manipulation. That influence, control, outcome engineering, but is it leading to better development or is it serving someone else's pockets? That's the negative manipulation. The negative manipulation is what inspired this article, or inspired this week's theme. It's the seeing that, you're broadcasting these combine numbers and these 40-yard dash times, which again, it's nothing wrong with guys out there going out and competing and testing themselves. But when it gets to the point in which you're keeping the young athletes from getting, going and playing other sports, when it gets to the point where you're literally taking money out of these parents' pockets because you're promising them scholarships and you're promising a bunch of bullshit and camps and all sorts of third-party services that you're promising them, and you're not actually telling them to get something on film. Spend your money on getting better, spend your money on going out and playing lacrosse, man. Spend your money on going out and running track and giving yourself more options than just football. That's manipulation. That's you taking the popularity of the sport that I love, and you're just taking people's money because you're selling bullshit. That is the problem, right? So that's the negative manipulation that started this article. That's the negative manipulation that gets me fired up, that gets me really angry, because the game was not meant for that. The game was not meant to be, 7-on-7 and all this third-party bullshit. The game was meant 11-on-11, shoulder pads, helmets, cleats, all that stuff, and 4 quarters of all out. However you want to get it, we can get it. That's the game. That's football. And it's such a painful thing to watch, because nowadays you see the athletes are so much better. They're stronger, they're faster, they're bigger, they're so much more athletic. And we have this culture in which we're not teaching work ethic, we're teaching how to look good on a combine. Now, there are people out there who, again, I've got to get me on one of these panels, man, because there are people out there who have talked about this and who have said, look, you might be a combine guy and look good in a fucking combine, but by the time the pads and the shoulder pads get on and we get into some 11-on-11 action, your ass ain't showing up. That's what we want. We want more people talking out and speaking about this, and then eventually we'll see the NFL go to a feeder system. And just so we're clear on what I mean when I say feeder system, I don't mean the USFL. I don't mean college football. I mean, let's say you're the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins have a feeder franchise right here in West Palm Beach, the same way that the Houston Astros and the Washington Nationals have two. They have 2 feeder franchises right here, 2 farm system franchises right here that they affiliate with, and they pull guys up. Right? That's what the Miami Dolphins. So it's that team. You're signed with the Miami Dolphins, but you're competing for the West Palm Beach Panthers. I don't give a shit what the name is. All right, that needs to happen yesterday, and it has to happen. And that all 32 teams need to get on board when it comes to that type of system. All right, you keep it light. You don't got to go full pack practices, man. The same people showing up for the draft are the same people that would show up at those games. So the money is there. There's no excuse why it's not being done. Just not. All right, so. Anyway, that's manipulating people. So what happened during that time is it was a Friday, and I was, again, by the time Friday comes, I'm usually already thinking about the topic that I need to be going on next week. So I teach at a school, right? And we had a math specialist. We had a math specialist in the light bulb moment. So after writing that piece, I sat in on a presentation. Yeah, so that's what happened. I wrote the piece on the NFL Combine, and then I sat in on a math specialist talking about how to manipulate. She used the term manipulatives, like she came up with this term manipulatives, and that's when I was like, that's a good point. So, and that's what happens with me. There's tons of topics. I could be sitting here right here. I'm at Starbucks right now. I could be sitting here at a Starbucks, and I could hear somebody say something at another table, and that will inspire in next week's theme. When you're observant and you can feel it, and you can get yourself right. This is why it's important. It's important that you see manipulation in both ways, because when you have good things to put out there, when your intent is the right way and the right thing, you're gonna sense certain things, and you're going to use enough common sense to say, hey, that's a good thing for a person to hear, and I can take a little bit of that, mix a little bit of my flavor into it, and then put it out there into the public. That's the key to it. So anyway, after writing that piece, I sat in on a presentation from the math specialist at the school I coach at, right? She used the word manipulatives, touch math manipulatives, physical tools that students use to touch, count, move, and interact with numbers. And then that's when the light bulb went off. We manipulate learning every day. We manipulate learning every day. We manipulate learning every day. Did you guys hear that? We manipulate learning every single day. A few months ago, I created a lesson plan on the fly, and this is the one I talked about when I showed you the picture. But students had to count how many jumping jacks they could do in a certain time frame, add them up, divide the number of participants. Just like that, kids engaged in math concepts ahead of their grade level. I manipulated the environment. I influenced engagement, controlled structure. I engineered an outcome, and it produced growth. That's positive manipulation. So here it is, business owners. And again, we'll dive deeper into this concept tomorrow when I go through the top 5, right? So here it is, business owners. This is about you. You manipulate every day. The layout of your website, the way you price your services, the words in your marketing, the way you position your brand. The question is not whether you manipulate. The question is, are you doing it intentionally? And is it leading to a positive outcome for your staff, your clients, and your shareholders? All right. If you have a problem with the word manipulate, that might mean you don't fully believe in what you're selling. Because if you truly believe in your product, service, or leadership, makes people better, then influencing them toward it is not evil. It's responsibility. See the flip? Do you see the flip? And I told you I was going to clear it up for you. The flip is, if someone says, hey, you're manipulating this person to do this, you should say, damn right, because I know it's good for them, right? That's the way it should be. You should, if someone comes to your business and they're challenging you, and y'all going back and forth on what idea is this, what service is this, and they say, hey, you manipulated me to do this, and you supposed to say as a business, you fucking right, I did because it's important that you learn that. And you tell me that's the challenge, and that's when you start having confidence in your shit, right? When you start having that type of confidence, no one can stop you. All right, again, we're gonna get you there. So I'll use myself as an example, because what I do here is I pose a question and I answer the question for myself, right, from my own perspective. So the one and only Move Swiftly speaker. Every single day you see me on a video calling myself, you're one and only, as one Kirkshank, you're one and only Move Swiftly speaker. You're one and only Move Swiftly speaker. Am I literally the only motivational speaker on the internet? Of course I'm not. Of course I'm not. I'm not the only motivational speaker on the internet, right? But my platform is Move Swiftly. It sounds like motivational speaker. It's distinct. It's memorable. I manipulated positioning, not deceive, but to separate, to clarify, to create brand identity, to influence perception and alignment with the value I bring. Right here, the value I bring. That's strategic manipulation. So again, I'll ask you, who are you manipulating? Your staff, your children, your customers, your athletes, your shareholders? And is it leading to growth? Or is it just feeding ego and profit? Right? Again, this is a topic that we have to break down to make sure you're doing it the right way, because there's a lot of people depending on you as a business owner to make the right decisions, and you owe them to make the right decisions. And we'll dive deeper into all that tomorrow. Again, main website to check out to dive deeper into all the work I do, everything I'm about. It's makeitmove.com. That's MakeYamove.com. One-stop shop for your teamwork and your self-development needs. As one approach, the one and only Move Swiftly speaker. Check it out. You guys continue to move swiftly. We will talk more soon.